We sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we talking about practice. Not a game, not a game, not a game. We talking about practice.
I remember where I was because I saw it on the news, and I happened to turn on Comcast Sportsnet to see it live. I'm thinking, get him off! Get him off the dais!
Not a game. Not the game that I go out there and die for and play every game like it's my last.
Basically, you know, you lose your last game, you're trying to get better. I said Alan had to do things a little bit differently, and he's heard that from me so many times. He was just tired of answering the same old question, and that was his reaction, but that didn't define Allen Iverson.
Not the game. We're talking about practice, man. I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
You know, everybody talks about Allen Iverson practice rant. I'm pretty sure he wasn't practicing well when they were making it to the finals. But when you lose, that's the double standard. You get free reign when you're a great player and your team is on top. But when your team is losing, you're gonna get criticized. That's just the way it is.
The worst part about being in the NBA is a dude like me dealing with the media. And when you feel like you're the villain and they just effing with you all the time. The world called me the MVP. You talking about getting rid of the MVP for? It used to bother me, man. You know what I mean? Like, when you know somebody is just trying to irritate you. You know what I mean? And you feel it in your heart.
When we talk about practice, I have to laugh about that, because the happiest days of my life is when he didn't practice.
That little guy came to work every damn day and played hard. You know, and we'll go through, oh, we're talking about practice. I mean, total lie in terms of how that was interpreted. It's funny, I laugh when I hear it. I say it too.
But when it came time to win a game, or when he stepped between the lines, for a coach to know somebody's gonna give you his very best every minute of every game, that's an unbelievable feeling to have.
He was a player a polarizing figure where people loved him, people didn't like him. He was the fodder for talk radio. At a certain point, I think Billy King and the Sixers realized it was time to move on.
I mean, I'm the franchise player here. You know, I don't know any franchise players that come off the bench. I don't know any Olympian that come off the bench. I don't know any All-Star come off the bench. I don't know any former MVP that come off the bench. I don't know any three-time scoring champion come off the bench. I mean, I don't know any first-team All-NBA come off the bench. Why Allen Iverson? Why should I come off the bench?
There comes a time, you know, there's only a few select players that are able to play their career with one franchise. And for Allen, it just didn't work out that way.
How hard was that when leaving Philly, changing teams?
I wish it never happened. But it was time because of what I wanted, you know, as far as giving the city. Like, if you're not gonna do what I think needs to be done to help us all, I'd rather be gone. You know what I mean? And I wish I would have just stuck in there and not left. You know, I wish I wouldn't have left.
At the time, you make a decision, or I thought it was best for him and for the organization. I thought it would give him a chance to go and win with the team that was trying to win now, and we were at a team that was adding some youth and sort of rebuilding. And so I thought at the time it was the right decision, and looking back on it, probably still is.
What's up? Finally made it. Denver, where I belong.
Iverson to Melo, alley-oop. Oh!
That's all I wanted to be, is welcomed. And just give the Denver Nuggets everything that I've been giving the Sixers for 10 years.
Denver, Detroit.
Detroit was
My hometown.
a bad situation for me, Steve.
Why?
Because I was told something, and I was promised something that wasn't to be.
I'm not sure what the conversation was between him and Detroit, but I knew Allen Iverson didn't come to Detroit to come off the bench. Same thing with me. I didn't expect when Allen Iverson came that they will be asking me to come off the bench. Because the way it was sold was like, hey, you two guys are going to be playing together, and we'll figure out how it will work. You know, because that's the one thing. Even when they were successful in Philadelphia, it was kind of his ball, and everybody else kind of just did their thing, but that doesn't work on a lot of teams. And I think we both kind of got caught in a situation where, from a management standpoint, they were telling us, hey, you know what? We can play together. And we knew we could play together because we talked every day. We sat right next to each other on the bus, and we knew that we could figure it out. But I just don't think that management gave it time.
I had already knew that it was going to be a problem once I got there and I couldn't have my number. so I already knew, like, yo, this ain't right off top.
Well, I think first and foremost, when Chauncey got traded, a lot of people didn't want to accept it. Me too. I didn't want to accept it at the beginning. Not the simple fact that he was traded for Allen Iverson, but the simple fact that he was traded. So when Allen came in, it's like, all right, you know what? He still wore the #1 jersey. Chauncey wore the 1 jersey too. So a lot of people couldn't really get over that.
Then Memphis. Short stay.
I was going through too much in my life. You know what I mean? I was going through a divorce, and my daughter was sick. I wasn't able to give them the Allen Iverson that they wanted.
You know, I think the way he played and kind of his mindset, you know, both led to the way his career ended. You know, could have it lasted longer? Yes. Could he have compromised in some ways to, you know, either be a scorer off the bench for somebody, be more of a facilitator? In a vacuum, sure. But I just don't think Iverson was wired that way.
I think that motivation, that inner drive that made him who he was and the exceptional player and athlete that he wasn't able to dial that back in the later years when his physical skills began to erode a little bit. And everybody has to accept a different role. You have to be flexible. And I think that probably was a tough transition for him.